The Disney parks have been around for generations, with countless rumors and urban legends about the magical vacation destination. Stuff like Walt's frozen head being under the castle, ghosts haunting the different rides, and the mysterious Club 33 located somewhere in Disneyland. Plus, all the wild, real-life deaths and incidents that have taken place on Disney property. There's a fascination people have with perverting the Disney image into something dark and creepy. When, if you're lucky, the scariest thing you're gonna see at Disney is the people who wear t-shirts like this. It's become a cliche at this point to have anything with an evil Mickey Mouse, but the most popular Disney creepypastas managed to do something interesting with the idea. The Abandoned by Disney series by Slimebeast features different accounts of bizarre happenings at the parks and resorts. Slimebeast you may also know for writing other pastas like Lost Episodes, Funny Mouth, and I Hate You. In spite of its reputation being boiled down to the pasta that had the photo-negative Mickey costume, Abandoned by Disney is very well written. There are a lot of great descriptions of the main character snooping around the abandoned resort, and whether intentional or not, the story aligns with so much actual Disney history. The main inspiration was an abandoned Disney cruise line resort that Slimebeast read about, and was subsequently vandalized by the locals. In the beginning, there's a lot of talk of locals not wanting Disney to build this kind of culturally insensitive resort in their city, something that actually happened in the 90s with something called Disney's America. Look up the Defunctland video on it, I remember it being pretty interesting. Disney, around the time the resort would have been built, was also trying to expand out of their two main theme parks, so there was a lot of weird little offshoot stuff like this. Michael Eisner totally would have greenlit Mowgli's Palace. With how many Disney places there are out there are of course other abandoned areas with a whole culture of urban exploring. Discovery Island and the Bay Lake at Disney World, the Wonders of Life Pavilion and Original Imageworks at Epcot, and the abandoned River Country Water Park. There's a long-standing rumor that River Country closed because of some brain-eating amoeba, which influenced Abandoned by Disney, or at least gave the story a little bit more credibility. There is a pasta written about River Country, but it's not that good. It's a lost episode type story where the author finds some disturbing home movie of some guy going in the water and turning into a weird zombie, and then at the end he feels some kind of creature breathing down his neck for no reason. No reason really. The park didn't even close because of said brain-eating amoeba. That happened with one kid in the 80s, and they closed it in the 2000s. Do you think if you went inside the Star Wars Hotel today, you'd find a photo-negative Chewbacca costume running around? A few years later, Slimebeast put out a follow-up titled Room Zero. I remember watching a narration of this, but having no idea it was connected to the original. I actually think it's a lot better than the first, and actually manages to be creepy. For a creepypasta, that's a very high bar. The main character from Abandoned is back, and here's from people inside the parks about weird, almost supernatural happenings. From kids disappearing in slides at the water parks, to mysterious entities wearing Disney-themed gas masks, which are also based on a real thing, to a construction worker encountering a huge concrete structure while excavating the outer limits of Magic Kingdom. An older cast member shares her story, and this is where it dips into being pretty unsettling, describing all these people in Disney-themed gas masks shoved in this underground air raid bunker, and then weird stuff starts happening in there. She escapes the madness, but then opens the door only to hear a single voice behind her. The third story in the trilogy tries to tie everything together with the explanation that all of this is a corrupted manifestation of Disney's cultural power. People all around the world think about Disney, and all those thoughts are thus projected as these bizarre happenings and entities. Oh yeah, and the author gets hunted down by the Disney company for exposing this, as you do. Overall, the Abandoned series is really great and takes concepts that would otherwise be kinda silly and makes them interesting and a little bit disturbing. But how about we look at some more Disney pastas? Small World 1999 is a very short tale revolving around a mysterious picture taken on the classic Disneyland ride. The urban legend goes that this is an actual person hung from the ceiling, but in reality, this is one of the many doll characters that hang there and like ride on zip lines or little balloons or something. I tried to find this one about working at Disney, but I found another one about It's a Small World called Working at Disney Security. It's actually really creepy, using the photo feature on the Disney World app to show this missing family stuck on the ride over and over again. The real Working at Disney is about a construction worker during the time when they were building Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Unlike most jobs the author does for Disney, their breaks are strictly only to be taken at a certain time. While on his break, the author goes back to retrieve his lunch, thinking it won't be a big deal if he's out for a minute, only to see a human sacrifice going on somewhere inside the ride. Some girl dressed up as Snow White is being cut open by people in weird cult-ish robes. Later, it's explained that this is a tradition dating back to when the land was populated by Native Americans, in order to ensure good luck and prosperity prosperity, they had to sacrifice someone related to the structure being built. In that case, a Snow White. I think it's a little clever, but the story has a very unique problem. I've heard people complain time and time again in movies and TV when adults have to write teenagers, and it comes off as unnatural and out of touch. This story is somehow the opposite. It's someone who I assume is younger having to write a bunch of middle-aged construction workers. You can tell, and it takes me out a little. The last line is very funny. I see that Universal is hiring. I need work. Should I apply? So cheesy, I love it. Of course, a park with a more broad age range than Disney isn't gonna have any creepypastas about it. Trust me, I looked for something, anything, but nothing popular enough to be worth talking about. Let's end off on a pasta about my favorite Disney ride, Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom. Spoilers for it, by the way. For a ride, yeah, you gotta go in blind. The author literally begins the story explaining why the ride is so good. They say, while being an incredibly thrilling roller coaster, it is also well themed, with the whole experience making you feel that you are truly in the Himalayas. I feel like I'm at Disney while I'm on it, but that's not denying the theming makes the ride a super fun time. A great touch is the encounter with the Yeti at the very end. I had no idea it used to be an actual animatronic, but still here I am proclaiming it as a favorite. But those in the know about the original Yeti, have you ever wondered why it doesn't move anymore? Well, the Yeti creepypasta is told from the perspective of an employee who hears some bizarre claims from guests, including that the Yeti nearly scratched some kid's face off and that it took some lady's daughter. How preposterous, our main character thinks, until he and his supervisor go up there, only to find out that it's real. Based on the layout of the ride and where/how the Yeti is positioned, I find it very hard to believe it could be real, unless there's some sort of restraint keeping it in that exact spot, like jabbed into its back. And then some guy shows up and, I kid you not, casts a magic spell on the Yeti, killing it, freezing it, and turning it into the static Yeti we know today. Well, despite the joke I made in the beginning, the Disney parks experience is not without its flaws. The lines, prices, lack of shade in the Florida or California heat, and overall scummy practices by the Walt Disney Company in recent years. For places designed for parents to take young children, they sure are committed to making it an absolute nightmare for any family, especially the ones that don't have infinite money or time. So pardon me for saying that Disney creepypastas are redundant in that way. You go there on the wrong day and it's a horror movie.
When you hear the knell of a requiem bell, weird ghosts scream where spirits dwell. Restless bones, ethereal eyes, rise as spooks of every size. Grinning ghosts come out to socialize. Grinning ghosts come out to socialize.